the one thing that I think obviously we've never seen anything in any sport like LeBron's longevity. And I do think as Lakers fans and LeBron guys, which we have a mixture of those two things on the pod, obviously, it's been a real bummer of a year.
They
Jason,
killed
how
my
do you,
spirit, Mike.
yeah, I know, but how do you feel about you could talk about the Lakers angle, but I just think we've talked a few times on the pod about it's just it we were 19 the last time LeBron was not a dominant NBA player, and you are starting to see signs of just age that we have not seen before, whether it's the turnovers, whether it's the sort of loss of verticality. How are you feeling about that? Just on an emotional level, just checking in on our friend. You know what I mean? Like, how are you handling that?
I had this point of view about it was right after the year they made it to the Western Conference Finals. And going into that summer, I was of the belief that they needed to trade D'Angelo Russell to bring in an athletic perimeter player to bolster LeBron and AD because Bruce Brown in particular, but also Christian Brown and KCP kind of just kicked the shit out of all the Laker guards in the sweep when they were in the Western Conference Finals. And it became
The
abundantly
Ledger
clear, like,
KCP. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
exactly. And so there was this ideology, and it was being reported. It was like actually coming out from the Rob Pelinka himself in like the preseason presser. But he's like, we got one shot to do this. We got to find the right deal. Blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. And at the time, I was saying, okay, like, all right, LeBron is 38. He's gonna turn 39 this year. Obviously, now we're a year forward. He's gonna turn 40 here in 9 days. But like, he was 38 at the time, and I was like, you have to do something now because any increased value that comes from you being patient and finding the right deal is going to be undercut by his decline. Here's where I'm pissed off. Last year in April, LeBron was literally playing like the third or fourth best player in the league. After the All-Star break, he was like 28, 8, and 10 on like 67% true shooting. Like he was just outrageously good. AD was kicking ass. They were like both playing at a top 5 or 6 level. And they literally outplayed the Nuggets the majority of that series, and 2 Jamal Murray game winners swung it in Denver's favor. The Lakers led that series like 75% of the game clock. And they were like, it was a lot closer than it looked in the 4-1. And all I could think of is like, God, I hope this isn't the last chance they have. Because now LeBron looks considerably less good than he was last year in April. He might finally be reaching the end of the rope here. We'll see. I'm sure he'll have some more to say this year. But like, all I can think about is like, okay, that Minnesota team like really fell apart against rim protection. That was the team you play if you beat Denver. You run the exact same scheme that Dallas did against them. They probably fall apart offensively because Ant was cutting them up because he was going against Nurkic and Jokic, two guys that can't protect the rim. Anthony Davis would have been hell for Anthony Edwards to deal with in that series. And then if you remember, the way Luka killed them was he's too big and strong for Jaden McDaniels. Guess who else is too big and strong for Jaden McDaniels? LeBron James. And I just kept thinking like they could have gone to the finals last year if they had two substantial role player upgrades. Like D'Lo was a 0 in that series. Rui was a 0. If D'Lo and Rui were upgraded to like Bruce Brown and Dorian Finney-Smith or something like that, they could have beat Denver, beat Minnesota, been in the finals. Who knows what happens, right? So like maybe they end up losing to Boston anyway. But like the thing is like now I'm looking at it and I feel like the last great chance was last year and they still haven't made a deal. And now I'm not even sure it's worth it. And so I honestly am kind of discouraged because I feel like the tail end of LeBron's career has just been horribly mismanaged. And I feel like a lot of good basketball was wasted. And like I've been pretty critical of LeBron and AD because I think that they have a tendency to not bring it in the regular season the way you need to establish championship habits. I think LeBron, it's his age, because when he was younger, he did do it.
Yeah.
And then with AD has always had a little bit of a motor issue. Sometimes AD goes out there and he just doesn't feel like playing that hard. And so because of that, I think I've been critical of them, but I also sympathize with them in the sense that like they probably don't have a ton of belief. And I wonder how much, if they did have belief, they would be more willing to fight. And so that's where I feel like not investing in this group was such a big mistake. And honestly, now, man, it just kind of feels like a sad part of LeBron's story, doesn't it?
I mean, he did get the chip there. What do you
They got
think
one,
about JJ
yeah.
though? Yeah. What do you think about JJ? How do you
I think
feel
he's
about that?
fine.
Yeah.
He's fine. It's way too early to like determine whether or not a guy like that is a good coach or not. Just we don't have enough of a sample. A lot of encouraging stuff. Their offensive organization has been better. Specifically, they've been really good with off-ball action, which is something that they weren't using in the past. And then they've incorporated some of the modern concepts using AD as kind of a fulcrum at the top of the key with guards cutting off of him. They've gotten a lot of good stuff out of that. He went with a switching scheme early in the season, which I disagree with because switching typically requires a lot of athleticism 1 through 5 because you need guys to help each other rebound and you need lots of guys that can guard. That's not a team that has a lot of guys that can rebound and guard. So you kind of need to run drop schemes or schemes that keep LeBron and AD by the basket so they can cover for the lesser athletes on the perimeter. But to JJ's credit, he tried it for like 20 games. He realized it wasn't working, and he's been shifting back to traditional coverages in the last couple of weeks. So, like, I've liked what I've seen so far. He's active coaching on the sideline. I like what I've seen so far, but there's just so much more to this story, and we need to see a larger sample. But here's the thing: he's certainly a better coach than Darvin Ham was. I think that's
Facts.
abundantly clear up the top.
Not in the NBA Cup though.
The Darvin Ham invitation. Yeah, I mean, he's what the fourth coach in 5 years for LA. Like, I mean, of course, I don't think Darvin Ham was the guy, but it's for sure been a roster personnel issue with why I think
For sure.
Lakers squad is falling short.
I've talked about this before, but I think once the Westbrook trade and getting rid of Vogel, like when they panicked after was it the 21, the year after the chip?
Yeah.
They panicked when Bron was hurt, AD was hurt, and they didn't perform like they wanted to, and they switched everything up. That ruined everything. You know what I mean? I think it's just they've been fighting an uphill battle since, and with Bron getting older, I haven't had the same type of confidence in them since they made that decision.
You literally have to support LeBron and AD with athleticism. You have to. It is, and honestly, like, this is the thing. Like, I always feel like it's trouble when you start criticizing people in like coaching positions or front office positions unless you kind of provide like a case. Otherwise, you're just being a dick. You know what I mean? But like I with Rob, the thing that has bothered me the most is I genuinely don't understand like what his basketball vision is. Because he's done something different every single offseason. And quite frankly, every single smart GM in the league is leaning on these perimeter athletes. The reason why is because, again, so on a basic level, if you take a team's half-court offense, they're typically between 0.9 points per possession and like maybe 1.1 points per possession. Transition offense is typically between 1.1 points per possession and 1.3 points per possession. It's a simple math concept, which is why every team talks about playing faster. We got to play faster. We got to get out in transition because we're going to literally increase the efficiency of our offense by 20% on these possessions where we push in transition, right? Then in like what we've seen with Boston, when you master spacing and you learn how to generate quality three-point shots, there are ways to kind of like improve your offensive efficiency. So having athletes that can guard in space and play in the open floor of transition is now absolutely vital. And if you look at the Laker roster, they don't have a single starting caliber athlete that plays on the perimeter. Jared Vanderbilt, really good athlete, but he's a defensive specialist who should be coming off the bench, right? Max Christie, really good athlete, but he's a young guard who should be coming off the bench. They don't have athletes. And like, you look around the league, look at Oklahoma City, look at all their athletes, man. Look at Golden State, look at all their athletes, look at the Clippers, all their athletes. The Clippers and the Hawks have been winning because they have athletes next to guys like Trae Young. Yeah, Houston's a great example. Boston's a great, like, you have to be, and like, it literally feels to me like Rob Pelinka just doesn't understand these like pretty basic basketball concepts because he just hasn't been supporting them in that way.
It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in on all the hoops, football and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7.
So many games every day, so many opportunities to place your first bet. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and place your bet. And here's a gift for all new customers. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Jenkins. That's code Jenkins for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours.